So we know it works. If we double click this one, we know we have output stuff here. We have our base color and we have our input maps here. So everything's working, everything's cool. So this one, this texture custom thing, works great. We like it. So one thing you can do is right click this thing and we can go to, oh, I'm sorry, right click this one above it, the texture custom. And remember how we were talking about like, oh, you can go ahead and shoot these up to Substance. Well, what I'm going to do is right click and I'm going to do publish. I'm just going to publish this to my desktop. We'll call it texture custom SBSAR. And that's basically going to condense this down into like a little RAR, a little zip file. And what that allows us to do is go in here to Substance Player, for example. And actually I haven't updated Substance Player in a while. Let's hope it works. And what we can do is go ahead and open on our desktop this SBSAR. And what that's going to do is set up a little, like, you can give this to anybody in the world, and they can open up Substance Player, and it's going to ask them, hey, where's your ambient occlusion map? So you're going to go grab an ambient occlusion map, and let's go ahead and texture our, desktop. Let's texture the lower body. So we're going to grab the lower body here, and it's asking for our ambient occlusion. So we'll go ahead and plug in our ambient occlusion, and we'll go ahead and plug in our material ID. And we'll go ahead and plug in our curvature map, and our world space normals, and our normal map. So with all that stuff plugged in, it looks really gross because this is an upper body. So we need to go to Geometry, Load Mesh, and we're going to throw in our upper body. Oh, not our upper body. We're going to throw in our desktop lower body. There we go. So now here's our lower body, all nice and textured. Now, remember how we had that stuff grouped together? Here's our where, here's our tiling. So everything's here with all of our defaults set in there. And another thing, because we set it relative to parent, I should be able to do this drop down, and it's at a 512 by default, which remember the default for this is 512. You bump this up to 2048, it should go ahead and go through the texture process and update this thing with much higher res textures. So if we zoom in, and you'll notice it's a lot faster as well. So that's super duper cool. So that's just a really easy way to go from Substance all the way to a nice compact package that you can hand off to anybody and get them texturing. Whew. So anyways, that was just a really quick run through, at least off the top of my head, just kind of going through the process. I probably skipped a whole bunch of things. In fact, I know I did. There's a lot more things I would want to talk about. And, you know, if you want to, for example, naming your materials and making sure they have the right settings so that you can go in here, for example, and if we right click this one, open reference, yes. So if you go into any of these materials that I've just pulled from somebody else, like so, go into the plastic base, you're going to notice that they have it, the author is Allegorithmic, they've labeled it in their category of PBR materials man-made, so you can go in here and you can set up under PBR materials, you can go in here, let's go ahead and give us a little bit more room in here. If you want to, you can edit this thing. You can also go in here and add you can go ahead and add your own categorizer. You can add more, and you can go in here and edit any of these. So for instance, under pavement, it's looking for a graph that has a category. So over here under category, any material or substance graph that has a category of PBR materials / pavement, this will show up in this area. So just little stuff like that, going into your tools, preferences, scrolling down to your library, oh, not your library, project, scrolling down, and under your library settings, you can point this to specific paths on a network drive or on your local drive that contains any substance graphs you want to have, so it'll know where to look to go ahead and put it in your library, that kind of stuff. So, and there's a ton more cool stuff. We're going to go into Painter next, but just to kind of, you know, get you up and running on Substance Designer really quick.